Your patience while we are just welcoming our interviewing our new instruction officer. I have a bunch of presentations tonight. And I'm just going to go through it. We have 3 Boy Scout proclamations for Eagle Scouts. One is for Aaron and Portico, not here. I don't see any young men in this room. Sorry, gentlemen. I see young men in this room. Sorry. All the notes. We have one for Scott Huben, no Huben family here. One for Seth Gould, and one for Andrew Devine. I believe all of these gentlemen live in Raritan Township, which is Flemington Borough. Zip, we will be sending them these proclamations. And then, do I have Pat Cirillo here?
I'm here, President.
Yeah, Pat Cirillo. Cirillo has been named the Harbor Shopper of the Year by the 100 Harmonizers.
Oh, really?
And we have a little proclamation for you, which I'd like to read. Whereas Mr. Patrick Cirillo was born in Plainfield, New Jersey, graduated from Scotch Plains Fanwood High School, and attended Lycoming College with a double major in political science and music. Mr. Cirillo attended the Marine Corps Platoon Leaders class in Quantico, Virginia from 1974 to 1976. And whereas Mr. Cirillo, a clerk for Superior Court of New Jersey for Honorable B. Thomas Lee, Somerville, New Jersey from 1980 to 1981. And whereas Mr. Cirillo married his wife Tracy in 1980 and has 4 children and is the owner of his law firm Patrick J. Cirillo LLC from 1985 to present. Mr. Cirillo is a member of the New Jersey State Bar Association and the Hunterdon County Bar Association, licensed to practice law in New Jersey, as well as the federal court for the District of New Jersey and the United States Supreme Court. And whereas in his spare time, Mr. Cirillo played soccer in the Cosmopolitan League of New York and New Jersey, coached travel soccer for many years, enjoys playing trumpet, piano, and singing with the 100 Harmonizers. Mr. Cirillo has also enjoyed fishing, hunting, and performing with the a cappella quartet Ovation. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and the council of the borough of Flemington that they do hereby recognize and congratulate Patrick J. Cirillo on being named the 100 Harmonizers Barber Shopper of the Year. And Saga de Carlo will endorse it. And congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thinking he was going to sing to us, but
Well, we had enough here for a choir. I mean, I can't show music over here. Thank you, Rover.
did you sing on Saturday at the county?
Yeah, that was a good turnout, very good turnout. Very community day. Yeah. Thanks
Yeah,
for what you do.
yes. So thank you very much, Mr. Mills. Thank you for coming in and spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me here.
Congratulations.
Come on, thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a warm spot in there because on Valentine's Day, the Harmonizers came in here and serenaded me during a meeting. So how can you not love the Harmonizers, right? God bless America. Thank you. All right. Let me see. I have a long marriage report, which I actually wrote down to make it easy for Carla. First of all, I want to welcome Carla Connor, who is our brand clerk. She was sworn in at 6:30 tonight. We are delighted to have Carla here. She loved another municipality for us, and we're very happy to have her. And for the next at least 3 years, because that's what her contract is. So we're happy. I also want to just bring up, I know other council members and possibly members of the audience are going to bring up the house tours that the Historic Preservation Commission put on last Saturday. But I just wanted to, start out the night by saying what a wonderful event. And I put in writing to the HPC that I haven't felt that feeling that Saturday since I was a kid. There was a very positive hum. There was a true community spirit. There was parking. You could find parking on Main Street. You could find parking anywhere in town. So it wasn't like, but it was busy. And the goodwill in this town, the feeling was just unbelievable. So I just want to publicly congratulate the HPC and all the volunteers and everybody who allowed more people to walk through their personal homes or churches or buildings, historic buildings, just to say thank you for making this such an incredible success. And to our liaison, Councilwoman Vice President Tilly, for making sure this all, it was like seamless. It was, at least it looked that way to us. I on the other side. So I volunteered that day at the the County Historic House, the Society, and we had over 400 people go through, and it was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. So I just wanted to bring that up. I also wanted to just let everybody know, I don't know how this dropped off my radar screen, but I was going through old emails, and I just wanted everybody to know that former Councilwoman Jess Hand, who has been a member of the Environmental Commission, did resign. I have not appointed anybody yet. I will be in the next meeting or two. I think about what I want to do there. I also wanted to just let everybody know that the governor's office, the governor's personal aide was here on Thursday. He spent 4 hours with me in Flemington, driving around, having coffee and snacks over on Stengel. I gave him I didn't give him, but yes, Frank Manuel gave him a tour of the old police building that we're currently in. Chief Rotella gave him a tour of the new police building that we're trying to get in. As a reminder, we have a $250,000 earmark in the state budget put in by our state senator. It's still in there. And it's up to the good graces of the governor whether or not he takes it out. This young man promised me that he saw the stress and the building conditions and that he was going to do everything to relay that to the governor about keeping it in the budget, how desperately we need that money. He really loved Flemington. I expect to see him again. So it was a really good visit, and he got quite a tour of the construction and everything else. I showed him a lot of the flood area problems, and we talked about infrastructure. So it was just a good meeting. I also want to remind the public and the council that on Sunday, June 25th from 2 to 3 is the marker unveiling for Jacob Francis, a freed African-American who fought in 2 militias during the American Revolution, and he and his wife, whose freedom he bought, are buried in the Flemington Baptist Church graveyard. I'm also appointing tonight, I'm going to create and appoint a personnel committee. Over the last couple of weeks, it has really come to my attention that that this town needs to tighten up personnel procedures. We don't have a table of organization at all. Nobody's ever done one. And there's also no job descriptions for all of our employees. So among other things, we really should have a personnel committee reviewing those things. And I also understand one of the employees who's a member of our union is the one who's been writing and drafting and rewriting our personnel manual. So our personnel committee really should take a look at that as well. So it's just to make this town a little higher and tighter. It's the first thing I always did as a business administrator is make sure there's everybody in an organization knows where they fit in that organization. So I'm appointing Vice President Kip Tilley and Councilman Tony Parker to that personnel committee. And then I just want to give everybody a radar screen. I am working on developing a parking committee ahead of the Union Hotel opening with 250 apartments and 100 hotel rooms. They've taken this project took up our largest municipal parking lot. And I'm not, and there was never really a full traffic study on how parking was going to be, quote, guaranteed to stay on Main Street, which one of the prior mayors, 2 mayors ago, stated. So in advance of all of that, I think that we really should be looking at a lot of the parking issues in this town. I have been contemplating and thinking about who to put on at this point. I mentioned it to Chief Rotella today, and he was very excited and asked to be on it. So he thought it was definitely a necessary thing. He was relieved that it was going to be looked at. So I will probably at the next meeting appoint a parking committee. It'll be 2 members from the council, a member from the planning board, Jerry Rotella, our chief. I'm going to talk to my champion about being on it, and our attorney for sure, and our traffic engineer. So that's kind of where I'm settling at. I can tell Councilwoman Engelhardt, I definitely would like to put her on it if she will.
Sure, I'm happy to serve. Thanks for inviting me.
But I haven't, I just don't want to overburden everybody else. And finally, I do want to make a joint statement from both the council vice president, Kim Tilley, and myself. regarding Councilman Malik Johnson. Council Vice President Tilly and I want to state for the record, that we have not publicly commented on the issue of Councilman Malik Johnson, not because we do not believe that Mr. Johnson should resign, which we do, but because there is a constitutional process in place. Further, we do not want to add to the trauma that his minor age children are already experiencing with additional publicity on this issue, and we encourage the rest of the council to do the same. That's the end of my report, Council President.
Good evening. I have a fairly short report. I want to echo the mayor's words about the house tour that weekend. But I just wanted to communicate that it was really nice to see so many people in town for the parade and the ceremony at the monument. Additionally, the weekend of the house tour was a real treat. Seeing so many people strolling along Main Street, walking the shops, is a really nice thing to see. Definitely got my imagination going. It was exciting to see so many people out and about in Flumpton. And it gave me a glimpse of how things are going to look once Courthouse Square is built and our other projects get going. I did wonder what businesses and entertainment would naturally flow into town once this all comes together. It's a nice thing to think about, honestly. And I'll say this, it's hard to be cynical about the prospects of Flumpton once you catch a glimpse of it, even if for a moment. And finally, at a previous meeting, we recognized June as Pride Month. The Pride flag will be on the flagpole outside Borough Hall for the duration of the month. We simply acknowledge the diversity of our town through the month. Folks in the LGBTQ+ community are also members of our community. They are friends, co-workers, bosses, family members, and fellow citizens who have the freedom and liberty enshrined by our Constitution to be themselves, to pursue life, liberty, and happiness that some of us might take for granted. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I was remiss in not commenting about the parade. It was wonderful. Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Hi, thank you. I guess the only thing related to schools that I want to mention is that between now and our next meeting, the public schools will be out for the summer, so please be aware. Everyone of school-aged children enjoying their summer vacation and walking around town and enjoying ice cream and stuff like that.
They still have summer school.
Yes, and some do have summer school. I'm sorry. Some people, some bus drivers are still working very hard for our kids over the summer. But please be aware that there's kids that are going to be running around and enjoying the community a little more often than you would see them normally during the day. The park garden group is having a kind of an open kind of welcome to the beginning of the first season of that. They've actually been able to grow this year on July 1st from 4 to 7. There's going to be a community event with fun stuff like crafts or kids and grilling, and they do ask for if you can, a small donation be provided. Just to offset the cost of the event, but everybody's welcome, and we hope that we can really kick that off and make it a big success. Tomorrow night is a planning board or regularly scheduled planning board meeting in this room at 7 o'clock. Not too deep of an agenda. We've got 2 completeness hearings, which are not public hearings to speak at, but just kind of people don't know what a completeness hearing is. It's basically you have all your paperwork in order for the board to review your project. So that's both completeness hearings for 13 Brown and 53 East Main Street. Also, there'll be a couple of subcommittee updates. Marcia and I actually just had a subcommittee meeting this afternoon. I think that went pretty well. And finally, I just also wanted to reiterate how much fun the HBC house tours was. It was great to have them again. I mean, I was soliciting people for next year on Todd's front porch. I think my only regret of the whole day was that those of us that volunteered for the day, realized I could actually get to see it. So yeah, so a few people kind of ran out at the end of the day and saw it, but yeah, that was, I think that's the only regret. It was a great day. And I'm really, actually, there was one other thing I want to add. the people, the individuals that open their homes to the public, I don't think they really realize how much money they put into local businesses' pockets that day. I mean, they open their homes, and their generosity, which I'm sure they, worked really hard to clean their homes up and do work. They, because of their generosity, they put money in, small businesses, families' pockets that weekend significantly. And I just want to recognize that, because that was huge. And I thank them for that.
Done?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Councilwoman Rossetti.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to say welcome to Carla. Good to have you here. And then let's see, there's a shade tree meeting this Wednesday, June 14th, 7 p.m., both in Borough Hall and hybrid online. And then I know this is not really my thing, libraries, but I just wanted to point out, my daughter's really excited. The summer reading program is starting June 26th, and that's before, actually on our next meeting day. So I want to let people know that's coming up. We're really, really lucky to have such a great children's librarian. Mrs. Moore is just wonderful and always has great activities for the kids. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Real quick question regarding Shade Tree. They still have 2 openings for 2 alternates, or just 1 opening for 1 alternate?
I believe 1, but I can double check with them on Wednesday.
I met somebody because of the house tours who would probably be really, really great on there.
Okay, great. I will ask them on Wednesday how many they got. Thank you.
Mike, if this, would call this gentleman if there wasn't a moment, of jubilance during the house tour, if Mike wants to interview him or something ahead of time.
Okay,
I think he would be really, really good fit.
awesome.
So-
If you want to just email me his name, and then I can talk to Mike on Wednesday night. That'd be great.
I want to check with him to see if he was serious.
Well, okay, fair enough.
Thoughts we have, and if Mike does have somebody else, he's like, I don't think they were thinking about anybody else. I think we got all that straightened out with who was there and who wasn't there. We expanded it by another 2. So I think they've got.
I think so too. Yeah.
I'll look for an email or call from you. Thank you so much, Councilwoman.
Okay, thank you.
And Vice President, sorry, I should call on you right after the president, but I'm going this order here, sorry.
That's all of it. So I just want to say welcome to Carla as well. I definitely look forward to working with you. Tomorrow I have DPW and fire officer meeting. My next HPC meeting is on the 21st. And my report is going to be all about the house tours. We distributed 586 tickets. So as the mayor mentioned, all these people didn't drive the horse and buggy here. They were all here on their cars. There was not an issue with parking anywhere. So as we've always said, Flemington doesn't have a parking issue. We have a parking sign issue. And this event proved it. So I do want to thank all the homeowners that opened their homes, as well as the public buildings that were open, all of our docents and greeters. We couldn't have done it without you. The volunteers that helped at the chamber with check-in and ticket sales, all of our sponsors that were listed in our house tour book, Chris Phelan and the Hunterdon County Chamber of Commerce, who graciously hosted us to do check-in, our DPW, who made sure our streets were all clean, the police department for making sure that everybody was safe, pedestrians and car traffic, and of course our trolley. The trolley driver did say this was the most, he could tell that we put the most thought into his route to make sure that his turns were clear and his sight line was good. So special thanks from the trolley driver, Charlie, to the police department on that. And special thanks goes to the House Tour Committee, which included Jen Williford as our chair, Wendy Orr, Kristen Cook, Todd Cook, Marie Shobe, Dennis Shobe, and myself. If you're not following Historic Preservation Commission on Facebook, please do, for exciting information to be updated soon. And that's all I'm going to say.
No, on social media, please. That's good. So thank you very much for that report. I was going to ask you something about 500 or something, but I forgot, so couldn't be that important. Okay, public comment session number 1. If you are here from the public and wish to speak, we have been doing a 3-minute limit, but we'll see where we go. So because I really hate to do that. So I just need you to come up to the microphone, state your name for the record and your municipality. If you want to give us your street address, because I think a lot of you are here on the same issue. No,
Is he okay with it?
Chris, are you okay with street addresses being given out?
With Daniel's?
Because this is pertinent because of what they're going to talk about. This is, you're here about this.
Yes, My name's Bill Hennessy. and I live at
She's new, she doesn't know any of you yet.
um,
She's new, she doesn't know any of you yet.
HENNESSEY. I live at 13 Village Court. It's a flood zone area. And I still don't know why the council or Flemington ever approved building houses in that area. Because it floods every time it rains. Back this far, back in the 90s, we had FEMA. Was FEMA had lowered the flood zone from, I think it was 190 feet down to 182, something like that. So we had the council involved, we had Flemington involved, we had all the neighbors involved, we hired a lawyer. And we got FEMA to change their mind and limit that increase or limit the lowering to a certain degree. I'll give you an example. My house is the last house in Flemington, right next to the Devore Farm cow pasture, where it used to be the cow pasture. And I have probably the lowest house in the neighborhood. Although the house is not technically in the flood zone because of what we did with FEMA, but my yard is. My backyard is in flood zone. But most of our neighborhood is in a flood zone. Their yards are in a flood zone. When the builder built, if we don't have cellars, he had to raise the houses up a little bit, half a foot, something like that. So we're all on slabs. But the reason I'm here, I don't really know where to start, because you guys are at a disadvantage. You didn't get a copy of this letter. I just gave a copy to the mayor that we received, everybody in our neighborhood. Block 35, lots 22, which is our whole 26 house development. Lots 28, 29, and 31, which is the Fino's property, the tow truck company, and probably the restaurant out there, Platform 1. We all got the same letter. And what they're saying is they're applying for a permit to the DEP to allow them to build in a flood zone, which you can't do. You can't build in a flood zone technically without the DEP or state approval. And they had, apparently legally, they had to copy us in since we're in the same flood zone. And they're asking for our comments. We had 15 days to provide comments. Now, I've been communicating with the DEP since February on this issue. Read several articles about what this guy was going to do, that Hoboken Brownstone Company was going to do with the property. And I asked the DEP back in February and March, I said, has this guy applied for a permit? They said, hey, for Liberty Village redevelopment. And they said, we know nothing about Liberty Village redevelopment. We don't know nothing about this builder. But apparently Flemington approved this guy because I guess you have a little conflict of interest maybe. I don't know if he's donating the new borough hall to you down there or you're buying it. But I know you're getting a new building out of the whole thing. So I went to all the neighbors in the last 2 days because we received this Friday. And I talked to everybody. And I think 2 or 3 people I missed. And I encouraged them all to send emails, which I started back in February, but I just ramped it up the last couple of days to the DEP, telling them basically don't approve it. I want to suggest to you, and I encourage you to do it, set up a meeting with the DEP and the citizens of that Bolingbroke Drive and Village Court, so we can find out what's going on. I also said maybe something I shouldn't have said in my email. I told the DEP if they approve the building and we get another flood like we had in Ida, where we had 4 feet of water running down Village Court and Bolingbroke Drive, and hire some lawyers because we're all going to sue. And it's a serious situation now. I've been there 45 years now. My house was flooded in Ida. I was the only house in the whole neighborhood I got
made a mistake, opened the back door. I heard rain, of course, opened the back door and the water came rushing in. I got like a half-inch of water on my floor. But if they build there and they bring in any dirt and fill it up, fill up the area, raise the elevation or anything, it's gonna be a disaster in our neighborhood.
Can I ask you a question? Is this letter directed about the parking lot area or what Liberty Village currently is?
It must be, it doesn't really say.
So
It says this letter is to provide you with a legal notification that an application for a flood hazard area, individual permit, and FHA for verification has been submitted to DEP.
okay,
It
so
doesn't say anything about,
I just want to set the record straight about a couple of things. This was designated as a redevelopment area a few years ago.
Yeah.
And the entire site. There is,
including the contamination that was already.
yeah, that's part of the package that he's, but that's why it's a redevelopment area, because it's dilapidated and there's contamination, it's expensive to clean up. So, there is a signed agreement that the council did last year, allowing him to build a certain number of homes there, to tear down everything that's currently there, the old Liberty Village.
Certain number, 150.
Well, the current agreement has 140 something, and he was seeking an amendment that would bring it up even higher to 168. But I just want to set the facts. So that's supposed to go where they're currently, all this impervious coverage already, all the stores, the buildings there. Okay. So he by law would have to tear down everything and make sure that there's enough stormwater capacity to today's standards, not 1972 standards or 1992 standards when the second phase was built over there. And the parking lot's a whole different issue because it's so underwater. So we are in conversation with him regarding that building, just to set the record straight. This is all part of the package, right? He wants to do certain things, so there's a monetary value to that to the town, right? So
Not the whole thing.
to the whole town. It's supposed to be a benefit, right? To get somebody in there to clean up the pollution.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the traffic.
I am not a housing person. I'm on record not
We
being a
don't have
housing
a
person.
parking problem, like you said, we have a driving problem.
Hmm.
How many years are the roads gonna be closed? How many years are gonna, after all this work's done now, then you have to pave the whole thing? How many years are we looking at?
Well, E-Town Gas is supposed to be finished, I believe, in 2024, and then they're gonna come right back and they're gonna pave the mess, and we're gonna pave some of the mess as well, that they're not paving. So hopefully 2024, E-Town Gas, hopefully they'll be done. And we can't stop the gas company from replacing 100-year-old gas lines, and we really want them to do that because they're hopefully keeping us all safe. But I just want to set the record straight that this is all negotiation regarding, regarding the building is not a payoff to the borough.
Yeah.
I mean, nor is, the contract clearly outlines him giving $1 million upfront to the council, to the town for infrastructure improvements, and another $1 million when he finished the whole complex. That's in the current contract. It also includes giving a building to the town. It also includes other things to the town. But it's still under negotiation,
Yeah.
but I don't want you to think that there's a conflict by the council accepting anything.
I'll buy that.
So,
I do want to talk about that parking lot area. though. What do you know about his plans for that specific area?
so he has made no bones about the parking lot. He has a second phase of apartments and some some group home kind of whatever, but he's open to anything. He's open to having, some kind of glorious supermarket or something else there. But his issue is that it is in extreme flood and he needs to figure out a way to raise it. He mentioned bringing in dirt, and he has not made any compunction
Well, that's-
about going to the Hunter Land Trust and asking them for like 10 acres of topsoil. I don't know if any of this is
that's
gonna happen.
Can you see that?
I can't see it.
And we get more water. It comes from the creek. And the fact that the DOT never comes and cleans out that culvert. There's 2 culverts. They never clean it out. The water backs up from the creek, fills up our neighborhood first. So he wants to build a compensatory flood storage area,
Yeah,
okay? But that's past us.
let me,
We are already flooded before the water
let
goes
me get to
in.
this number two. Okay, so there were complaints from some of your neighbors, that about the creek back there, because that, a lot of that is owned by the redeveloper. And the redeveloper went out, he has to get a permit to clean out some of it. But he cleaned out a lot of it about 3 months ago, and then he went back out 2 weeks ago. Because I got more complaints, and what he found in the creek were a lot of grass clippings and some dead, like azalea bushes that are being thrown in there by the neighbors. We gave him permission to put up a no trespassing, no illegal dumping sign. It's somebody's going to come in there. It's possible, no, it's in Flemington, it's all in the borough,
The culverts in Flemington,
a good portion of it.
In the creek behind the
Yeah,
development,
yeah.
where the-
Yeah,
is where the brush is being thrown in the
and
creek.
clippings.
In the,
So I wrote to,
maybe it's in Fort Farm.
I wrote to him and so the person who was writing to me and said, please spread the word to your neighbors to stop dumping in there. But the culvert cleaning, I think, belongs to the county, not the DOT. I think it's the county's responsibility. Bridges are owned by the counties under state law.
I would encourage any of you to take a walk down that creek from Main Street, walk down the property that, Catherine DeVore, or wherever one of the daughters' names, she still owns that White House. Okay, Karen. She rents that out. Walk down there and see how that creek makes 3 90-degree turns before it goes into the culvert, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The water, you can't handle that amount of water.
So FEMA just came out with new stormwater rules last year, at the end of the year. And actually this is 2023, the end of 2021, they came out with new stormwater rules. They're very onerous, and the DEP has required every municipality to adopt new stormwater regs, which we did a couple months ago. So we are now in total compliance with all these new requirements. One of the things I will tell you that almost nobody knows about the new FEMA regs. The new FEMA regs are so stringent that any state or government that takes FEMA money, which the state of New Jersey does, if they approve a site plan and permit site plan, the DEP, and somebody gets hurt or injured, a first responder going in to rescue somebody who's drowning, or, anybody gets injured, it falls under civil law for a civil loss, not civil, but what's the word I'm looking for, Chris, where the government can't pay? A civil rights lawsuit. It falls under a civil rights lawsuit, which means that our borough attorney can't defend me, like if I permitted it, I have to pay for myself, any fines and fees, and my own lawyers. So the bureaucrats in Trenton should be really afraid about permitting something that's dangerous.
I just hope they realize it. I still don't think, maybe we should get a joint meeting with us and DEP.
Well, I know that the developer has been talking to the DEP. My first conversation with him was the second week of January, and he told me he's been talking to the DEP for months.
They didn't know anything about
It's
it.
totally a different department. Like, I don't know what this department is.
That's the problem. See, when this letter said Division of Land Resource Protection, I didn't send my email.
No, it would be, he's talking to the Division of Stormwater Permitting. It's a totally different division. So that's the problem. DEP is massive.
Yeah, sure it is.
So, I'm gonna, idea about sitting down with somebody from the DEP.
I don't know, Max attached to this, maybe because they're useless to me.
Well, everybody's writing to them, right? Everybody's gonna respond and write to
I hope so.
this,
Everybody told me they would.
to this division. I'm just.
I found you online today when I voted.
Again, I mean, this is going to,
Can we all get copies of that?
this,
Of the letter?
yeah, sure. It was sent to the Flemington Borough Supervisor on June 6th.
Can't make heads or tails of those maps anyway.
They're all blurry for one thing, it's before the popular.
That second one is
The
probably
Division
better.
of Land Resource Protection. I don't know
Yeah.
who the heck that is, but, yeah, I'll get.
I mean, if the DEP makes them do things that we feel are adequate, then fine, I'm not gonna stand in the way of progress, unless it's gonna threaten my property.
Well, I think personally, if you're gonna write to them, you should be copying a guy by the name of Dennis Pointois in the Bureau of Stormwater Permitting, because he's a permitter.
Remember that.
Yeah.
So they can write it down for us, so we can-
I'll email you back his
Okay,
name, and, I'll try to find the address for the PO box online, DP to the right. But it's stormwater permitting, right? But he should see it too, because that's where,
I think,
it's not here, I don't know what the
I
heck this
thought it was
is.
in here about a month or two ago, asking for, changing his plans and asking something on Brown Street that you approved. I didn't understand.
We haven't approved anything.
Because that's a flood zone there too.
We haven't approved anything. He's asking for all kinds of stuff. It's all negotiations right now and, you know,
Well, let us know if you come across any information that you think we should have. I appreciate it. And if, I mean, what do you think about setting up a meeting?
I'm not adverse to that. I'm just not sure.
Is this too early or?
No. I mean, if you guys are concerned, you should be able to sleep at night, right? So, I'm not adverse to setting up a meeting. I'm just thinking the last time I had a DEP meeting a month ago, I had 9 people from the DEP and every single one of them were on Zoom from home. They're still not back in their offices. They're still only working 2 days a week in Trenton, even though, the CDC declared COVID like done.
So in
So
the hospital, you don't have to wear a mask now.
we have to think about who might be willing to come out here and talk about it.
Yeah.
But I will see, I will do my best.
Think about it.
I will do my best.
Yeah, we-
Yeah, I'd like to bring something. Should I sit there?
You do, Chris. Yes, and I mean, if it's, please don't repeat anything he said, because
No, I'm gonna.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm Steve, and I live in 11 Village Court, Bill's neighbor. Okay, you need my block number and. What's that?
How do you spell your last
D Lemon, yeah, it's easy. Simple Irish name. So I've lived here since 95. And 96 in the summer, we had an enormous thunderstorm, 7 inches of rain in 1 hour. And it flooded, but not the houses that time. We walked in the back there, and the issue is that walnut brook, which is what that thing's called. I didn't realize it until I saw the drawings. It had stuff that come down from, because they did a lot of work up in the park. Was it I guess it's not Tuckermurray Park, it's the other one.
Mine.
So all the stuff had washed down and clogged that thing up. So they did, and then we had to have, they were going to put us in this terrible flood area where we had to get insurance and everything else. Well, that wasn't really right because it was all plugged up. So anyway, we did contact FEMA. We had to, actually, we didn't really get a lawyer. What we did was, we hired a surveyor to come in. And the surveyor came through and did his own private thing for us. We had to pay him to do it. And he came up with totally different results than what FEMA did. And we came into a council meeting and we beat them. Okay. I'm an engineer myself, so, I told him, I said, it's all about the, gallons of water per minute. It's dynamic flow. That's what it has to do with it. But at that time, the brook went down and it was a gentle turn, but it still was clogged up. And it went into the culvert, which was blocked, okay? They still haven't cleaned that out. This is going back to 97, okay? So we had another storm, they did clean it up a little bit in Sandy, and we didn't get flooded, and we had more rain then. And then in Ida, the problem is that Bill and I walked down there afterwards, and the brook has eroded to the point where the bank now is a good 35, 40 feet past the culvert. And so what happened during the storm, Ida, was the water came down and it went over the top of the bank and then washed all that muddy crap, which you're talking about, like azalea bushes and all that stuff. God knows what. And by the way, there are people that come in, landscapers and crap that come in because of the little entranceway off of Route 12. I didn't think that's where that crap's coming from. I don't think it's the other people. Okay. I think it's landscapers doing this. And they're just dumping this stuff in there, blocks and everything else. Not to mention they did a lot of cleanup work in that parking lot. Had to be about 6 months ago. There was a whole bunch of trucks back there, and I'm sure they threw a lot of crap back there too. They were cutting brush down and everything else. So before we start, pointing fingers at people, we should find out who's doing what. But I can tell you right now, that thing is really bad. It has to be more than a 90-degree turn to get into that culvert, and there's no way it's gonna make that. Somebody needs to go on there with a bulldozer, and we were told back in '97 that that land was owned by the state. And that's what they told us. This is, Phoenix and everything else, and that's why they couldn't do it. And they need to go on there with a bulldozer and then, redefine what that thing is, the path of that. It needs to be a very gentle circle, a curve. Now I'm getting all upset about it because it really pisses me off. But it needs to be a nice gentle thing that goes right into the culvert, and the culvert has to be cleaned out on a regular basis. And so I don't know who's in charge of that, but we've asked how many times over the last, 30 years or so, and they still don't clean that thing out.
I just want to, for clarification, I want to understand exactly where this culvert is. Is this the one?
It's the one on Route 12.
It is the one. We're looking at the same one.
Yeah, right across from the gospel.
That's why I think
No,
that is,
Not the golf.
no, question.
Closer than
from Mr. Gospels.
No. It's across from that old White House on Route 12.
By ADR, right?
By what?
By Auto.
No.
From that.
Is it Pioneers?
There's like a false driveway entrance.
That's the one where I see people dump stuff in.
Okay.
On the right.
No, it's further
It's
off.
almost right in the middle of the rural property.
But it is real close to where that Mr. Golf Course is.
Okay, because I'm trying to get a handle on, because if it's anywhere near that, where that bridge is, like the flowers get planted.
Oh, no,
that's
that's
not-
not Route 12.
You're talking,
That's not-
that's Vine Street, okay.
That one's not really a problem, that one there. So they did have to repair, they had a lot of things washed away from that one, and they had to come back and had to fix
Who's
it.
gonna handle who's responsible for that ritual?
That would be yes.
Yes. We'll get a handle on it.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, the other thing is, ever since they've been talking about this thing about, getting rid of Liberty Village, I've talked to people, I know people around town and stuff like that. And apparently, they were going to revamp, or renovate that whole place. That's what I understand. There's that guy that, what's his name? He's the relative of Braun. He's what's his name? Martinelli, or whoever it is. And there was some young kid. This is what I heard. I heard this from Robert Shaw. And he said they were going to go in there and they were going to renovate it. And then Betsy Driver turned it down. She said, I'm not going to do that. She said she gave them so many months to get it done and they didn't do it. So they decided to go in with this thing with the houses. I mean, I don't even know if we even know what's houses, but the thing is, then we lost the bus service to go to New York.
It's back.
No,
It's
it's
back.
Not 7 days, 6 days, 7 days a week. When did that happen?
A couple of weeks ago, I think, it was recent.
Okay, what was the deal with that? Why did they get out in the first place?
because of COVID.
Don't worry, it's temporary because they're gonna fill that in.
Well, what's gonna go, let me ask you, what is gonna go in there exactly? You seem to know more than we do. We don't know anything what's going in.
So, like I said, right now there is a signed and agreed upon RDA agreement that the redeveloper wants to negotiate different terms, which is allowed the council to negotiate different terms.
Okay.
I can only tell you what's in the signed one because it is public information. Everything else is under negotiations as an executive session item. So what is signed right now and agreed upon is that we can put in 145 units up to 4 stories high, stacked townhouses. He's allowed to go up to 6 stories if he wants to under the signed.
And this is
agreement.
gonna go over, right now where the existing
Stores are.
stores are.
The signed agreement also calls for some group homes. That's what is in the signed agreement right now.
And Ralph is gonna be the one, because I talked to the owner of Ralph.
In the signed
She said
agreement,
that's the one that's gonna be the new town hall.
in the signed agreement, he
Okay.
was to give that building to the borough for the borough's purposes, whether it be a new town hall or not, would remain to be seen. That's what's in the current
So
agreement.
what was about the other store? It's right across, what was that place called again? He did some, one guy. What was that name?
Timberland.
Timberland. What's gonna happen with Timberland? That's another building right there.
Again, I mean, the whole subdivision of Liberty Village is supposed to be all townhouses and single homes.
Now, they don't own the railroad tracks,
They
right?
do not own the
And they
rest.
don't own that big building they just renovated.
No,
Used to be the jewelry store.
Yeah, no, they do not own that.
Okay, so that's gonna stay there.
Not platform one. It used to be open jewelers.
It's in the same area.
Yeah, the old Alpo industrial site, yes.
Right.
So I'm a little confused with the parking lot area, the paved parking lot with the buses.
That's phase two, and
Oh,
under the current agreement, he's supposed to put in all apartments. I think,
4 or 6 stories.
no, not as big, but I can't remember how many, but
Backyard.
I don't remember how many, but
Can I make a suggestion? Because you know, different people are, you know, are kind of, become aware of projects as they go through the process over the years. One of the things that might help, instead of kind of guessing this building or that building, or I heard this from.
Or here's page, like,
On the website, on the historic Flemington website,
right.
there is the current redevelopment plan, like.
it is the
I tried to
agreement.
read.
Sure,
The development agreement is public information.
But
So-
that's what I was just gonna say, was anything, when the area became, those parcels became an area need redevelopment, and the proposal by the developer was presented to the planning board, and then, and first the council, then the planning board, then the council again. All of that is documented on the borough website, so anything that's public knowledge is there. So what I would really encourage, instead of kind of not knowing, you know, this person's telling you this and that person's telling you that, take a look at that first, because I don't want anybody to.
I read the whole thing. It took days to read.
To us, if you're here right now, you're saying you're gonna put in a whole bunch of apartments later in the plan.
So
Being negotiated.
phase one, right, is already it's all impervious coverage, it's buildings, and that's the one that the redeveloper is currently focusing on. Phase two, he knows he's got an issue, because of the water issue. What is currently approved is apartments and some group homes, but he said he would be amenable to making it, you know, business structures instead, if there was something, you know, that would go there, hypothetically.
Well, one of the things I heard was they were gonna put in a movie theater, number one, so that was what the other guys. I was gonna redevelop.
Yeah, this guy.
Have like shows or something like that, people could come in and get like concerts.
I don't know anything about this hypothetical. I only, you know, but we are where we are now with a signed agreement.
Okay.
So, you know, where was that, right? So I can't, I mean, like I said, the redeveloper said, you know, if you have somebody who wants to build a movie theater and run a movie theater and movie theater, but that's not his thing. His thing's housing. So, but he is willing, if you find somebody who wants to put a movie theater there, he's willing to put one there if he can get it permitted. We don't know if he can get that parking lot permitted.
What happens if the DEP says no building over there?
So if the DEP says no building over there, then he owns all this land. And he's gonna try to figure out what he can do with it within the confines of the law, which means nothing permanent with footings, which means that the community partnership could put, you know, rent it for festivals, or other groups could rent it for tents and have a, you know, a garage. So, I mean, who knows? I don't know how he would make his money. He could donate some of the land for a dog park, right? Because water can flow through the fencing. You know, the DP just wants to make sure that water can flow through something and nothing is gonna hit.
I hope I have.
I mean, my biggest issue is it is a Walnut Brook. I didn't realize how bad it got. Like Bill and I walked back 3 months ago. And that was why people had fish, they had their pools destroyed and fences knocked down and everything else, because there weren't items. Because that thing, it was just, it was unbelievable. The water was shooting up in the air for like 30 feet. I mean, it's supposed to go under the culvert. It's not supposed to be going past there and have to turn 90 degrees, you know, more than 90.
And remember, this isn't just our water. This is taking water in. Raritan Township has done a tremendous amount of building. You know.
No, I understand. It's not to be fixed.
Oh, really? No, it's agree.
And what caused that land needs to fix it. That's what caused the flood of the last time. And it wasn't anything else. It was because the people that got nasty mud and all that crap like that. No, Bill opened his door, but I was stupid. I didn't. But I mean, that was clean water. And we've always had water come in there because we have a swale room through our backyard. Because the original builder had to remediate our property. And he supposedly put 10,000 dump trucks full of dirt in there. I don't know. I don't have the records for it like that, but
That didn't happen.
well, he said it has. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is it wasn't, at one point, and I think this man, he's been here a long time too. He said that there was, at one point, there was a flood during, so what hurricane was it?
Dorian.
Dorian, there's 13 feet of water back there.
Bob Howe told us after the fact. You should have seen it before the houses were built. It was a cow pasture or something. He said during Dorian, the water was 10 feet over Route 12. He said that's how deep it was. So it was 10 to 12 feet in our neighborhood running through during Dorian. That can happen again.
And I think that culvert under Route 12 is actually new since then. They actually had to fix it. But you still have to direct the water correctly into that.
Okay. I don't know.
Thanks. I think I told him enough.
Anybody else?
I'm not bringing it over.
I need to move the meeting too, because
People here, they need to talk.
Let me speak about something.
yeah, you can just come up, I need your name,
Okay.
the records.
Thank you.
My name is this AOL. These are Victor ITES. So I'm a resident of Flemington. I'm actually a resident of Brereton Borough and Bridgewater, and I own property in Kingley. I'm here to talk about the intersection of Route 202 and Rayville Road. I think that is Flemington Borough.
Yes.
Okay, so on May 16th, at 9:30 at night, I was in line to make a left-hand turn. And I was the second car. The car in front of me did not see the pedestrian crossing, and he literally had to jump out of the way or he would have gotten
Which
hit.
direction you were on, which
I'm
one?
on Rayville going towards McDonald's, and he's crossing from the McDonald's side to Chipotle.
Okay.
So he actually literally jumped, and the car never slowed down, never hit its brakes. I know they didn't see him. So since then, I noticed at that intersection that it's really dangerous, and some of the reasons are that when you're looking straight ahead, the pedestrian crosswalk is off a little to your left. You have to kind of turn your head and look over that way. And the only way you know there's a pedestrian there is if you look this way, you'll see the light lit up. But when I get a left-hand green arrow, if somebody pushes the pedestrian button, the arrow doesn't show up, but I still have a green light, I can go. I just have to watch, is there a pedestrian in the crosswalk? And I think someone was killed at that intersection, if I'm correct. So, you know, I was reading a little bit about what makes intersections dangerous, and the longer it is, the more dangerous it is, and it's actually 6 lanes. When someone's walking from McDonald's to Chipotle, they're crossing 6 lanes. The intersection is not well lit up, especially where the pedestrians are crossing, which is off to your left. And if you're looking at the traffic signal, you don't even notice the pedestrian light lights up. You don't get a green arrow, but that doesn't tell you anything unless you go there all the time and you happen to notice that, which I never did till the guy almost got hit. And what would make it safer is you can put flashing yellow lights actually in the street, in the road, that would go off when someone pushes the pedestrian light. They could increase the lighting there overhead because you don't see the person. It's not well lit there.
So even though it's in Flemington, this is state road.
I know, but don't you have any pull?
Oh, yeah, no, we can ask the chief to contact the DOT to review the situation. Absolutely. We just can't do it.
Okay, you know, you could, and I wasn't even sure you let me speak, but I felt like I had to do something because I saw somebody get hit, and I thought somebody should be able to do something. And Flemington, I have to say, going around the circles all the time, I see cars not stop. So if I'm in the left-hand lane and I stop, it's really scary to me because I see the person wants to cross, but I can never count on the person on the right of me is going to stop also. So if there's anything you could do about the circles too, because a lot of people cross their families, kids, people at night, and it's pretty dangerous. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak? Mr. Renz, no? Oh, Ms. Lapis, okay.
Thank you. Great.
Great. I told our attorney from our redevelopment attorney to be here at 8, because I thought that's what we'd be going to an executive session.
Okay, so I did bring this beautiful, oh, I'm sorry, I'm Rox Rafidas. I'm the executive director, yes.
Lapidus. What's it? Lapidus.
Awesome. I'm the director of the Flemington Community Partnership. Nice to meet you. Welcome. We'll be in touch. I just wanted to show you the incredibly beautiful house tours brochure, which everybody did. Okay, awesome. That's great. I also brought, well, the collateral or the ephemera that hopefully goes into some archive already, because it's a keeper, was so well done. So I just really want to say that there was a time at the beginning of the year where I was very concerned about what would happen on Main Street, as I'm sure everybody else was, given the construction and everything. And Mayor and I had some very fruitful conversations, and she was very enthusiastic about the house tours really bringing people here, which we all felt in our hearts was like going to be a fabulous thing and going to happen. But I don't think anybody was truly prepared for the incredible impact it had. And yes, it had a financial impact, but I think it really lifted people's everything. And we had travel writers here that day. So we went into businesses. I walked in first and I was like, do not complain about anything, construction to travel writers, because they're here to write about how fabulous this town is. And all people said was, this day is like every day that was good in the past. This is the day we this is it. Like, this feels like who we were, who we want to be, and everything good. So, 600 people who are here, not here to eat sausage and stand in the middle of the street. That's a different event. This event was about us and about learning about this town and about moving around this town. And we were as busy on Main Street as we were on Stangl. Stangl had the first anniversary of Flemington Pottery. Half of the people around don't even know that it's not Kissimmee River anymore. It's now Flemington Pottery. They had their first anniversary student sale. They had hundreds of people buying handmade by hand pottery that was made on Stangl Road. Amazing. Wait. Yes, it was really phenomenal, but it was just so.
You have to keep the door open.
Yeah.
It was so phenomenally well organized, but I really think the important thing is what it was about. We are encouraged to have events that sometimes don't have a meaning or a purpose, and those are good things too, but they're not really who we are, and they don't bring the same value. It's not just event on Main Street. It's meaningful events. So I think the HPC, I think the mayor really understood that we needed to have the car shows, which we appreciate.
So happy about how successful the last one was.
And that was incredible too, because the house tours trickled into, imagine we had these travel writers here, but the one major question they had was, will we do this again? When will we do this again? So I also think that even though I understand the complexity and the amount of person power it took to make that event happen, I think it's really important to keep going in that direction. And
I just want to, say, you know, because you worked very hard for that too. You're working very hard for the Francis Jacob unveiling. You're putting a lot of time into that, just as you did the house tours. And I know, I just remember the question that I wanted to ask you, which was the stuff, the trolley stuff. Oh, yeah, where's all that stuff? Where does it get stored? Okay, I was just going to, I forgot, but you know, this is really great stuff, and it's, I said this when you and I first sat down. There's enough events to spread the wealth around this entire town. We have interesting pockets all over the place to make things happen. It just doesn't have to be in one area. What are you doing with the rest of those? Are those brochures the ones that are now
Yes.
passed, whatever? Because again, another fabulous thing that's low key happening in Flemington. I can't remember if this is Friday or Saturday, and I better find out because I have to do the opening address. Is the League of Historical Societies
Yes.
is coming to Flemington for a day-long tour of Flemington and going down to the library to see the Indian artifacts there and lunch and whatever. So I can take those.
I have a bunch going,
Oh, you do already have a bunch going? Okay.
but thank you. No, so this is our, this is a group project. This is the self-guided
You
walk.
certainly have to do Francis Jacob too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, so we reprinted it for June, just for the month of June, because there's so many incredible events that we really want to get this in people's hands. And we made a few updates because from the lab, some buildings got painted, appropriate historical colors, I might add. And there were a few additions like the Unity Bank Development Leadership Center behind the building, you know, just important things. But we are redoing this as a much bigger brochure that will allow us to tell more of a narrative than, you know, and by the way, this is just a little overwhelming visually and if you're trying to walk it. So we do have a new edit. I hope I was helpful to the house tours, but we were able to give them a grant. And we got this fabulous ad on the back cover, which we really appreciate. I brought you this brochure, which is the new Discover Central New Jersey brochure. It has a very heavy agro-tourism focus. So we were only allowed to add super farm to table businesses and attractions, but it's a great map and you can pick it up throughout central New Jersey. And now Flemington, which wasn't previously on the map, is on the map with Bread and Culture, Matt's Red Rooster, Skunktown, Lone Eagle, Black River, and the Stengel Farmers Market, which hadn't been included before. So that's another great use of our funds. And I just want to tell you that we have sip and strolls every third Thursday through October. This next third Thursday has a Pride focus. So we're celebrating summer and Pride. We have a DJ, we have bands, we have a lot of live entertainment. We're really excited about it. And our sidewalk sales on Main Street are now, we've expanded to every fourth Saturday through October. However, July is a weekend event and October is a weekend event, and it doesn't follow the rule of every fourth Saturday. But we have new ads, and we really hope that everybody comes out to support the businesses because construction is hard. Some days are harder than others, and creating other times where we can have a lot of people on Main Street safely on the weekends is really helpful.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
So Robin, I'm sorry, the super stroll is this Thursday then, right? Because today, that's the Thursday.
It is this Thursday.
Yeah, the 15th.
Yes, and it should be very exciting.
Anybody else from the public before we actually do this agenda? All right, doing the agenda. Okay, we've got the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, wait,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, anybody want anything taken off the consent agenda? Roll call, please.
change that. Councilwoman Burchett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hazelmark,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly.
Yes.
And Council President Moss.
Yes.
Regular agenda, we have a couple of public hearings, a whole slew of public hearings. The first one is ordinance 2023-17, amending in part one ordinance number 2020-18, adopted on December 14, 2020, providing for various roadway improvements for the borough of Flemington in order to increase the appropriation therefore by $173,500, representing a grant received from the state of New Jersey Department of Transportation for a total appropriation of $1,846,050, and to amend the purposes thereof authorized in and by the borough of Flemington in the county of Hunterdon, New Jersey. The public hearing is now open if anybody wishes to speak on this, and just FYI, oh yeah, motion to public hearing, I'm sorry, Tilly, I moved over. Is there a second?
Hold on a second.
And I swim to just checking because I know Bill Hans was on. Is he still on? I can't see that part. Okay,
Yes.
so if there's any questions, Bill's on. Anybody from the public have any comment? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close? Tilly, is there a second?
Hold on a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-17? Tilly, is there a second?
Hold on a second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Or Councilwoman Rosé?
Yes.
She said yes.
Sorry, Councilwoman Miller,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly,
Yes.
and Council President Paul.
Yes.
Next, we have public hearing ordinance 2023-18, repealing the one-way limits on North Place. Can I have a motion to open up the public hearing? Tilly, is there a second?
Engelhardt will second.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. If anybody wants to speak on the ordinance regards to rents, shaking his head no. He's had his piece. Okay, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Engelhardt will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-18? Tilly, is there a second?
Engelhardt will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Rosé,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly.
Yes.
And Council President.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is ordinance 2023, you got it, so we'll be doing that. Ordinance 2023-19, amending chapter 9A-3, construction permit fees to add a new section to be entitled Construction Records Clearance CRC. Can I have a motion to open to the public? Tilly, is there a second?
Engelhardt will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is now open. Anybody wishing to speak on ordinance 2023-19? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close? Tilly, is there a second?
Hold on a second.
All in favor? Aye. Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-19? Tilly, is there a second?
Hold on a second.
Any discussion?
I have a question. If the new construction official is going to be amending this ordinance?
This is not, this ordinance is about being able to.
No, I know, but I mean, is this the ordinance that has his fees?
No,
No.
no, this is, okay, this is about.
This is just that, yeah,
This
the
is about
clearance.
roads and clears, yes. Okay, roll call, please.
Well, I was gonna ask, can Chris just summarize what this is about for the general public?
This is the police regulations, correct?
No, this is the construction permit fees.
Oh, I'm sorry, I wanted.
Yes. To be.
Yes. No, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I jumped the gun.
You're done?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, please.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Motion passed. Public hearing ordinance 2023-20, creating a new subsection in 3 and section 7 prohibited conduct of chapter 3 police regulations entitled general violations to regulate certain minor municipal court violations. Can I have a motion to open the public?
Tilly,
Is there a second?
Hold on a second.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. Anybody wishing to speak on ordinance 2023-20? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close? Is there a second?
Hold on a second.
All in favor? Can I have a motion?
Before we do that, Chris, I asked them to explain this. Mayor, I'll go take a second. What?
That's fine. Just normally it should be in the discussion portion. So, but go ahead. Whatever you. That's okay. Go ahead.
So, Councilman Long reached out to me to go over this, and I'm happy to do it. So there's a class of penalties that are under 2C of the state statute that divert certain monies to the state. It's permitted to create an ordinance, although the state looks at it every now and then to change it, hasn't been changed yet, to redirect those funds to the municipality as a plea, right? It gives the law enforcement the opportunity to plead down essentially to a municipal ordinance violation, and the fee is essentially kept in the borough. My colleague, who's your prosecutor, Michael Grodnick, has advocated for these ordinances in all the towns where he's prosecuting, and has thought that this would be a good idea here. It also offers, frankly, a
Can I put that in English? So this would keep more money for fines in our pockets and not just send them to the state.
yes,
The fines are the same,
roughly, yeah,
roughly the
something-
same, but it's just.
There's discretion on the fines.
Oh, right,
Both- on both sides.
It's not like we're gonna be charging more or anything. It's just, we get to keep more.
And for those who view the municipal court system as more rehabilitative as opposed to retributive, it is easier on the record to plead to a municipal ordinance violation than to a state violation. Easier for people to move on. So there's a benefits to this across the board. One day the state may come in and sweep it all away, but Mike and I have always kept an eye on this and they haven't done it yet. So happy to answer any questions. I think it's two prongs of benefits, financial, and like I said, it's a little easier on the record for those who are concerned with that sort of thing, so.
That, the second part was really what I wanted to.
Yeah.
I thought that's what the second, like
Yeah.
a benefit would be, and I just wanted to confirm that's how I understood it.
Yeah, it's case by case thing, but I think most council would be, you know, significantly easier. It's almost a win. And Mike's been a big advocate. He's like, give him a lot of credit. He was when he brought this to our attention months ago. Marcia.
Yes, I think because that allows the prosecutor to negotiate more. Yeah, is that? Yeah.
And also, you know, software.
It's a soft landing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good
One more.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's what, I guess that was a kind of a follow-up question, the when warranted,
Yeah.
But, you know, if the courts are seeing the same issue happening with maybe like the same person over and over again, does the prosecutor have the option to take this to another level? If warranted, like, is it always pleaded down?
And the judge too, remember, the judge,
The judge
the
has
municipal
that.
court level too.
Yeah.
It's a little different than, you know, in the county courts, right? The judge is a little bit more of like prime
They have
mover on that.
some-
Yeah, yes.
So if the judge feels that this needs to be brought to a higher level, that's okay too. I don't want people to get away with things necessarily, but I don't want to, you know, I don't want us to seem like we're soft on crime, but also recognize that, you know, pleading to another level is pleading down is also better for the community at large, as far as just being forgiveness of your fellow man and stuff a little bit more.
You keep an eye on it, see how it goes. You know, we have nothing but success in the other towns.
Okay.
Mike's prosecutor, many courts, 100 and a couple in Somerset. And we know nothing but success with it. If it's not working, or we can always tweak it, alter it, repeal it. I don't envision that being something we'll do, but, you know, keep an eye on it, always evaluating, always amending, so.
Thank you. Anybody else have any other questions before I ask for a motion to adopt? We have a motion to adopt. Is there a second?
Oh, sorry.
Any discussion? Sorry. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Ruffini,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gilmore,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly.
Yes.
and President Paul.
Yes.
Okay, that's it for the public hearings. Resolution amending the prior resolution authorizing the award of contract for engineering services, special projects engineer to Martucci Engineering LLC of Flemington, New Jersey. This follows our conversation last meeting with the DPW. It adds in those few projects that the DPW is desirous of having Mr. Martucci close and finish up. It does have a not to exceed amount in it, as per our council, but that is the requirement. So if you know, what I had a conversation with him about what he thought the number should be, and he said, you know, he really thought that he was going to work off the $99,000 credit, never get anywhere, but he thought, you know, some number between 25 and 50 would be fine. I picked 30, so that's how it got there.
You're gonna go, you have to have see.
Yeah,
You're gonna go over.
I mean, we got only half a year, so, you know,
Yeah.
this appointment is only till December 31st anyway. I think that gives the point. So, can I have a motion to accept?
Tilly, move.
Is there a second?
No, second.
Any discussion?
I got a couple of questions between the first version and the second version that we received yesterday. Just the Shields Avenue, Pennsylvania Avenue Water Main Project. Can you remind us, because that one wasn't discussed at the, the big kind of DPW, here's what we're doing now, here's what's coming in the future. Can somebody,
Yeah, that's the one, that's, so the roads are both in Merton Township and our water mains are under the road leaking like sieves.
that's right, thank you. I'm sorry, I just needed to,
We needed the verbiage.
I needed to remind you what that
So
was
we have to
about.
replace the water mains and then we have to fix Merton Township's road with no curbing.
Got it. I guess my other question is, I did some quick number crunching and that just the credit alone, the $99,000 credit alone is like essentially about 800 hours.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's like a lot.
That's why he thinks he can do all of this without.
Yeah, and I agree. I guess my question is, and I think when I passed the bills along, I think for Carla, I was like, I didn't get an agenda, but I actually passed the agenda along with the bills. So Carla was nice enough to give me another one. My question is, in the planning board, when we review our consultants' works, specifically, our engineers and planners and stuff, we have that summary of what hours they worked and what they
Yeah,
did.
I told him he needs to put it along.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to just see the summary, I want to see make sure that we're checking on 800 hours.
To go ahead.
Yeah, once we tack on real money.
Yeah. We've got it.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean just tacking on real money, I mean the 800 hour credit, I want to see the.
See, now he's got to do it all.
Yeah.
Because the guy, if he breaches the limit, then he's got, you're exactly right. I think we all agree.
Yeah, so this question is, besides us, approving the bills every month, who's keeping track of his hours? Who's like reviewing that log?
I think he's got to submit like I do.
He does. He does. So,
Right.
Bill, sorry, Bill.
So do we see, when do we see that? Because I only see the summary at the end of the month. Do we see can we ask for the
You can, of course you can.
detail at any time?
Public information once they submit a bill. Absolutely. You can see it
It's
anytime you want.
all out there for you to see.
Sure is.
And where do I sign that?
They'll be submitted to Bill for payment.
I would just ask.
To Bill Hands.
So I have to ask Bill every month if I want to see something.
Or if you can tell him you always want to see it, he'll make you a copy.
Okay.
Right now.
It's not that I don't trust it, I just want it, look, there's been years and years and years of kind of confusion with all these overlapping engineers and requirements for inspections and stuff. I just want to make sure that we're doing this right from here on out.
Yeah, I would just say, Bill.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, I'll ask
When they
you.
come in, just hit forward.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can I have
Oh, wait, a roll call then.
a roll call, right, because that was discussion.
Councilwoman Rosetti?
Yes.
Yes.
Council Vice President Phil?
Yes.
And Council President.
Yes. Thank you. Next is approving the appointment and hiring of John Tillotson. How do you pronounce his name, Carla? Tolleson, thank you. As construction official and zoning officer, can I have a motion to approve?
Tilly, move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilwoman Rosetti?
Yes.
Woman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Council Vice President Phil?
Yes.
And Council President.
Yes.
You have the work session, we're up to public comment number 2. Anybody from the public wishing to speak? Now is your time. Now is
Just
your
want to thank the
time.
council and the mayor for the president of North Place.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention and thank you for doing the work of
And
getting.
for Mr. Cristini, the explanation about the fines, the benefit is the expungements will go a lot smoother for those that pay the fines and it's at a reduced level.
Yep, that is certainly true.
Mr. Rice is a court officer for the county.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't say that.
All right.
But it is true. It's 100% true.
Go more smoothly. So it's a good thing. Okay, payment of the bills, kind of,
Tilly, move.
wait, the amount isn't on here. You don't have it, you don't have the total?
So you want
It's on the cover page.
Should be, yeah. Can respond in form.
Well, isn't it on the cover page of what we signed?
Okay, total all funds, okay. Motion to approve bill list dated 5/18/2023 in the amount of $2,382,952.67. Then a motion to approve.
Tilly, will.
Engelhardt will second.
Roll call?
Councilwoman Rosetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly. Yes. And Council President Wong.
Yes.
Thank you. You do have an executive session to discuss Liberty Village. Due to two of the council members not being here tonight, and Ms. Engelhardt has a conflict with Cardinal, we are going to not do that tonight, so we will not have a quorum. Everybody's little education for tonight. Mayors do not count towards quorums, so there'll only be 3 members left. It will get a quorum. So that'll get carried to the next meeting. So she's smiling. Thank God. Thank God you do. We were gonna see earlier, thank God I know the law.
Executive session.
So, yeah. Is sick, so I'm texting her now. She's gonna zoom in for that. Our attorney, development attorney Jim Fearon is here. And can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Tilly, will.
I'll second.
A roll call, please.
Councilwoman Rosetti,
Yes.
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly,
Yes.
and Council President.
Yes.
I forgot that I have this on airplane mode. So. Okay, so we're gonna take a 10-minute recess. I'm gonna get a hold of Ken, Beth and have the public.
Go.
Your mics are still hot.
Thank you for saying that. All right. Business, can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Second. All in favor?
Um,
Good night, folks.
Thank you, Larry.